Thank you for listening to this PodcastOne Sportsnet production, available on Apple Podcasts and PodcastOne.
This show is brought to you free in part today by our exclusive partners at PodcastOne Sportsnet, BetOnline.ag. Whether it's NBA, college basketball, NHL, UFC, golf, you name the sport, BetOnline.ag has you covered. Use promo code PodcastOne for a 50% sign-up bonus. BetOnline.ag, your online sportsbook experts.
The following program is a PodcastOne.com production.
From Hollywood, California, by way of the Broken Skull Ranch, this is the Steve Austin Show.
Give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Now, here's Steve Austin.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Steve Austin Show. I am currently out on vacation, recharging batteries, but just because I'm recharging the batteries, we still got business to take care of. In the meantime, we'll be playing some of the most requested Steve Austin Show classics that have been locked away in the archives. I got a great one for you this week, and here's my producer, Sean, to tell you all about it.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's another classic episode of the Steve Austin Show. It's producer Sean bringing you episodes number 171 and 173. That's right, 2 episodes combined into one with Bray Wyatt. Original air dates November 25th, 2014 and December 2nd, 2014. The Eater of Worlds, Bray Wyatt, a.k.a. Husky Harris, a.k.a. Shoot Name Wyndham Rotunda, a.k.a. the best real name in the business. This is around the time that Bray was feuding with Dean Ambrose. If you remember, he interfered in the match between Dean and Rollins at Hell in the Cell via hologram. And then they wrestled, Dean and Bray did, at TLC in the famous TV exploding match. So that's where we're kind of looking at here as far as time frame goes. Steve and Bray talk about wrestling a lot in this episode. A lot of cool wrestling discussion from both of these guys. Talk about Bray in FCW and the origins of the Bray Wyatt character and of the Wyatt family. Get a little bit of history about that, as well as Bray's influences in and outside of the ring pertaining to music, movies, and just some of his favorite matches. And also, Steve digs into where some of Bray's signature in-ring, what's the word I'm looking for? But I mean, you know what I'm talking about. The crab walk, the Sister Abigail. I mean, obviously that's his finisher. They go into a bit about that. So lots of cool stuff here with Steve Austin and Bray Wyatt. Today in Steve Austin history, today being March 5th, in 1993 in Cleveland, Tennessee, you guessed it, WCW Tag Team Champions Ricky Steamboat and Shane Douglas defeated Steve Austin and Brian Pillman, the match that keeps on giving. 1994 at Center Stage in Atlanta, Georgia, WCW U.S. Champion Steve Austin with Colonel Robert Parker defeated T.A. McCoy in an enhancement match. That was a part of the WCW Power Hour, which apparently was still going on at the time. I thought it was WCW Pro, but guess it was a Power Hour. Moving on to the WWF in 1996 in Austin, Texas, Steve Austin defeated Barry Horowitz. And finally, in 2001 in Washington, D.C. at Raw is War Live, it was Steve Austin and WWF World Champion The Rock with Deborah in their corner defeating Kurt Angle and Triple H with Stephanie McMahon in their corner. What a main event. This was also the same night that Paul Heyman debuted as a commentator on WWF programming. So interesting day overall in Steve Austin history, today being March 5th. I got my information from ProFightDB.com and the history of WWE.com. Coming up, we've got another classic episode with the Buzzard Man himself. Follow those buzzards. It's Bray Wyatt on the Steve Austin Show.
As I've been saying for months, there's only one place here at PodcastOne that has all the action you're looking for. BetOnline.ag. In the NHL, Tampa, New York, Winnipeg, and Calgary currently all sit on top of their divisions. Will the Capitals get a chance to repeat the Stanley Cup? Can Vegas repeat its magic from last year to get back on top? And keep an eye out for the Maple Leafs and Predators. Sign up today for a free account on betonline.ag and use the promo code PODCAST1 to receive a 50% sign-up bonus. And don't forget to try live in-game betting to stay right up in the mix. Again, that's betonline.ag for all the details, and while you're there, use promo code PODCAST1. That's PODCAST-ONE to get a 50% sign-up bonus. Don't sit on the sidelines anymore. Get in on the action with betonline.ag, your online sportsbook experts and exclusive partner of PodcastOne Sportsnet.
This is the Steve Austin Show.
You mentioned your love for horror movies along with the band Slipknot. I'm a huge metal fan myself. So growing up, you a big horror movie fan? And what's your taste in music?
I like a lot of mixtures music. It's not like I don't just like one genre, but I am a Slipknot fan. I love Lamb of God, like I mentioned before, the Misfits. They're a little punk. And they're like a punk horror band too, you know, so they stick out in my mind. But I also like reggae and things like that. And a lot of the Bray Wyatt character comes from my favorite band, which is Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, one of mine too.
Yeah, I was kind of turned on to them at a real young age. And so like this take the power back mindset, you know, it kind of just became mine, you know. Anti-everything is the Bray Wyatt character, just like it was in Rage Against the Machine.
For me, the Rage Against the Machine brought up that Rage Against the Machine, no pun intended, but I mean, it almost took me to, as an athlete, as a former football player myself, I had a killer instinct, highly competitive. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get to the top. Rage, their music brought that aggression out in me, and we did so many Stone Cold videos to bits and pieces of their music. In fact, I took Bulls on Parade to Jim Johnston to create my entrance music, and he come out with what he did, and how he did that I have no idea, but it was based on that. So, but when I watched the Bray Wyatt character,
that's really cool, man. I never knew that.
Oh,
that
yeah.
Really cool.
Straight up. But when I watch the Bray Wyatt character, then it brings out something different in you, because you, as Bray Wyatt, multifaceted, different levels, but I don't see that rage and anger. I see a free spirit who's laughing or mocking at everybody. What's going through your mind as Bray Wyatt? What was the genesis for creating Bray Wyatt, the character? How did that all come about? Because certainly there have been comparisons to Dan Spivey's character of Waylon Mercy.
And this the way I explain this is that it went in chapters, man. It wasn't just like
right.
You said, I didn't just find it. But what people don't know is that I did this character. I've probably been doing it for over 3.5 years now, and for a year no one saw it. The day I was told one day, basically, change or we don't need you anymore. And that infuriated me, and I was very blindsided by that. I wasn't expecting it. I thought I had been recalibrated, and I thought I was doing great. And on that day, for whatever reason, Danny Spivey was at the Performance Center back then in the FCW Arena. And I sat with Danny, and I just started talking to Danny. And he was kind of giving me some insight. His nephew was there at the time, and I wrestled against his nephew in high school and played football against him in college, so I was close with him. You know him, Hackman, the one Tough Enough, Andy Levine.
Right.
And and I guess he just came to see Andy. But I sat down, I started talking with Waylon that day. And he started explaining to me what that character was, and so I went back and I watched some Waylon. And then I started watching De Niro and Cape Fear.
Yep.
And I go, man, there's something here. And I started doing it, but then it grew and grew and grew. And next thing you know, I'm listening to interviews with Charles Manson, and I saw the movie Red State, and Rob Zombie's films have been a huge influence.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like it, and combine that with my natural mind for propaganda, and it flowed together, and it became something natural to me. It became someone could throw me a mic live on Raw and take it off for 8 minutes, and I could fill it up, and it would make sense to me, because that's who I am. That's who I wanted to be, which is the polar opposite of Husky. If you would have thrown Husky a microphone and said, talk, go, it would have just been wrong. It wouldn't have been me. And that's kind of that was the beginning stages of it.
So how did you come up with the name Bray Wyatt?
Very cool, interesting question. When I was talking to Waylon, I imagine it came from Waylon Jennings. you know, the first name, Mercy. I'm not sure where that came from, but he was telling me about how he got the character from Cape Fear. But what was real interesting is that he's from around the same region I'm from.
Right.
And he's going, man, I grew up with so many crazy jobs. I just took inspiration from people that I knew growing up. And so when I went back and I started doing the Bray Wyatt character, I had ideas for a name, this and that. But then I thought back to my roots and where I came from. And I had a childhood friend. His name was Bray Wyatt.
Right.
And Bray Wyatt was one of the most intense individuals I've ever known. He was in a car accident when he was young, and he lost the feeling in his face, and he's got these scars on his face, and he was basically impossible to knock out. He had no feeling in his face.
Right.
And he was just this intense country boy, you know, a little older than me. I looked up to him when I was a kid. And so the name Bray came from him, and Wyatt is Wyatt Earp.
Wyatt Earp. So you're a Western fan as well.
I will say, yeah, what I like is I like outlaws. I'm an Oakland Raiders fan because I like outlaws. I like tough things, you know what I mean? I think you can respect that.
I can. Let's talk about your theme music, because from what I've gathered, you were surfing the internet or going over a database of songs, and you come across a song done by Mark Crozer. Now, when I first heard your music, man, I'm a big Alice in Chains fan. It almost sounded like something that they would do with a little bit of Lane Staley in there, but it was not. It was this dude named Mark Crozer. You found this song. So how did you present this to the powers that be in WWE and say, dig this, this is what I want to use as my song?
And yeah, that's another interesting little tale. There's a guy at FCW who I owe a lot to for that. His name was Rob Naylor. And they came in and they told everyone, we got a new database. Everyone's getting new music down here. So, you know, everyone goes in, they hear the first little generic rock beat, and they go, yeah, that's me.
Right.
So they're all going in there for 5 minutes. But me and Rob Naylor, I said, I'm not leaving this place, Rob, until I am satisfied and I know that I've found the one. So I spent days in there with Naylor, and we were looking for just everything. And I kind of stumbled into, I said, type in Radiohead, you know, because you would search the database and there's likenesses. So I typed in Radiohead because I liked the way it was just different. I didn't want rock music because it wouldn't have been right. I didn't want rap because it wouldn't have been right. I wanted stylized music that fit Bray Wyatt. And we found this blank track, no name. We didn't know who made it, but it was Live in Fear by Mark Crozer. And right when we heard it, we literally played it over the loudspeaker in the arena, and I walked out to it, and it was just that feeling of, man, you know, this captured the essence of everything that I was trying to portray. This is the right thing, you know, and we went with it. And since day one, I've always had that song down in FCW, through NXT, through all that. I had that song. Like I said, we never knew who made it. And I saw Mark Crozer's name for the first time pop up on Facebook, or not Facebook, I don't have one of those. And he was baffled that that song would be brought into a wrestling, you know?
Right.
He never fathomed in a million years. So it was very rare. When we got to do the entrance together at Mania, and they were wearing the buzzard masks and all that, it was just like it had come full circle, and I realized how just real all of this had become, from a tiny warehouse in Florida where no one cared to the biggest stage of them all, you know, in New Orleans at WrestleMania. So it was a match made in heaven, made to be, man.
Hey, man, you mentioned how real this was to you. Man, when I was in the ring, when I was going to the ring, it was real to me. That's the way I perceive the wrestling business. I mean, hey man, it's a work, it's entertainment, it is what it is. But I'm out there trying to open up a can of whoop ass in the most believable fashion that I could see fit. And in a business of make believe, you make people believe in you. That's your same goal? Is that your take on the business?
When I walk out there, whatever I am, it doesn't exist. There's only Bray. My mind is clear, and no matter how nervous I get, which I get nervous time to time, but not really, there's no nerves out there. Once I'm out there, I feel I belong. And that's the confidence I was talking about behind the microphone as well, is I have nothing to hide. And I love Arn Anderson. And he's the one telling me every time before I get out, he's like, there's no way you can mess this up, kid. You and him are the same man. I really take that to heart. That's just how it feels. I feel at home. It's like all that preparation, all the traveling, all that is what they pay me for. When I go out there, I'm doing that for free, for fun.
Bray, when I used to go to the ring, the glass would break, that music would hit, and there was an adrenaline spike, and there was a rush like no other that I can explain. I've never been able to recreate that. If I could bottle that up and sell it in little glass vials, I would be a billionaire. And it's not a drug. It's just the excitement that goes with performing in front of a live crowd, and I don't give a damn if it's 20,000, it's 80,000, or it's 200. That's what I felt when I was going to the ring. It was just rage, anger. F you, we're going to have a damn bust-ass match. And that was the aggression and that unpredictability that Stone Cold brought to the ring. As Bray Wyatt, when you go to the ring on your entrance, so different, carrying the lantern, and I don't know what you're doing in the house shows, but from watching Monday Night Raw, and they dim the lights down, the lighters go up, you come out with a lantern. What is the feeling you experience as you walk to the ring?
It is almost indescribable. You turn that corner and you come at a gorilla, and now my lantern smokes as well. So the smoke is shooting up my face, and I'm completely entranced. You hear the graphic, the bam, and then you walk out, and you can hear the people. But what the essence is that gives me the biggest rush is when I look out and there's just a sea of lights. They hold up their lights, and just being able to see that. I wish everyone, like you were talking about the glass breaks and the adrenaline rush, I wish everyone could see that from my perspective. It's one of those things where it makes everything real. As simple as that is. A bunch of people holding up cell phone lights. It is just an entrancing sight. I can't even put it into words, man. It is just the coolest feeling. It happens everywhere, It happens all over Europe. I was just in Europe for 2 weeks, and it happens in Chicago, New York. It's everywhere, man. Malaysia, and it's cool to know that once upon a time when I was given the name Husky Harris, I thought this is going to be my legacy. What a piece of trash I am, and to see it come to this, and know that I have reached that many people to where I'll be remembered for something that I can honorably put my name behind,
When y'all first made your debut as the Wyatt family, Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, you guys, they put the vignettes out there, you guys make your debut. Now, you guys are heels. But now, as time has gone on, I mean, you're damn near 50-50. You're doing things to elicit. You're doing things to elicit heat, but there's a cool factor there. There's a fact that you're a breath of fresh air. Things are a little bit different. You decide to set free Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. So now it's just you. When you three were together, was there comfort in strength in numbers as you were, putting the character together and becoming a unit? And some of the, great matches that you guys would have with the Shield, the strength in numbers, and also easy to go out there and do a third of a match rather than a whole match because you've got tag partners. How did they assemble you guys together down in FCW and say, hey man, these are the guys and this is the Wyatt family and here's the leader, Bray?
there's been, and I have a lot to thank Dusty Rhodes, for this. He's family to me. There was only Bray at first. And what the world doesn't know is there's been a ton of Wyatts. A lot are already on the roster as other names. And that all stemmed from, this character becoming like this. It was started off as this, backwoods sociopath. And it turned into this Charles Manson-esque cult leader. And that's what I really got behind, because then I have a message. Then I have a reason for this. And I started off with Eli Cottonwood,
right,
on TV. There had been other combinations before that. I don't need to name names for future purposes. But it was me and Eli, and Cesaro comes to me and he goes, "Dude, you got to see this guy. He just got signed. He fits with you. He's a good friend of mine, and I want to take a look at him." I said, "Of course, man." So when Harper got there, day one, we just knew.
Right.
We knew that, we were supposed to be together, this Freebird situation, he's definitely my Gordy. And we started working together, and it just really clicked between us, It was just natural, and we kept working together. I actually called him Samson at the beginning. That's what I wanted him to be. And so then he was along with us. And here's this big, giant, Viking-looking character. They said, here, take Rowan, see what you can do like this. And, I said, perfect, 3 monsters put together, 2 gigantic heaters for me. I love that situation. And so with Rowan, I went, because Harper was already put together. What Harper is today on WWE television, he was probably 10 years ago working all over the world.
Correct.
Rowan, we had the idea that I wanted to make him a Frankenstein monster, and this is completely, it's up to us, come up with something, make it work, and I had no problem doing that. Here, I'll make you the Frankenstein monster. I went to the Halloween store, and I bought the lamb mask, the one that he wears today. I bought 30 years ago at a Halloween store, and I said, this is where it's at, man. This could be iconic. This is a metaphorical mask, that could really catch on. You and the lamb, we always talk about the wolves and all that, and it just clicked with all 3 of us. And unfortunately, we were rolling, and I tore my pectoral major. And that's another thing that I look back at and I say, it was one of the greatest things that happened to me in my career. Because had I not torn my pec, I think I would have been a solo act up there rather than 3 of us. So then when I tore my pec, we were been however many months, and we really came together. I never missed a TV taping. I was always on there talking and building these 2 monsters. And they took it and ran with it as well. It really just worked. It was hitting on all cylinders for everyone involved. And that's kind of like where the animosity between us and the Shield really stemmed from, because we were already a 3-man group, put together, groomed, already in existence, ready to go, just give us the outlet and we're ready to rock. But the Shield came up during that period of time where I was hurt. And they threw those 3 together, who were all extremely talented individuals. They threw them up, but we always looked at it as, we're going to be their demise. We're coming for them, and when I'm ready, and when this thing is ready to be brought to the limelight of the world, we're going to take the Shield. And so it was all real. It was a competition. They had been there and they had done it up there. We were NXT. We were the first product ever brought from NXT, as is 100%. When we collided.
How competitive was that atmosphere for a shoot? because, hey, man, it's the business is a work. But when you're fighting for a spot, it's a shoot. And within that shoot, there's cooperation because it is what it is. But make no mistake about it. You know, if you got three badass cats, which is Shield, and to your point, are extremely talented, as are all the members of the Wyatt family. But there is that, I mean, speaking for myself, I mean, asking you, that competition therein within your spot on the roster of who can go out there and rock that house or put the best promo or put more asses in the seats, that's a shoot, correct?
Oh, yeah. And like I was saying, the first time that we were even in the same ring together, you could just feel like the atmosphere changed all around us. Everyone, all the people were ready to see it. We were ready to give it to them. And backstage, we all quarrel because we all want to be the guy. But we all six of us, you know, a couple others, Cesaros and those guys, we have this mindset, and it doesn't matter who he is and how they know it. This is what it is. This is ours now.
Alexa isn't the only one with breaking news. Make sure to hang around at the end of this podcast for the latest breaking headlines on the AP News Minute.
This week on the official Lakers podcast, join Emmy-winning sportscaster Susie Schuster with co-host Aaron Larsoul as the All-Star team faces off against the LA Clippers, the Denver Nuggets, and the Boston Celtics.
Watching him play was phenomenal, and forget about it. He deserved a place in the All-Star game, but he really showed what he could become in the NBA.
Download the official Lakers podcast every week on PodcastOne Sportsnet or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
This is the Steve Austin Show.
The in-ring stuff that Bray Wyatt does, just in regards to the physical work, not the spider walk, any of that stuff, was there anybody that influenced your work? Or if they did not influence your work, were there guys that you watched, you know, guys before your time that you appreciated their work style in the ring? Who were some of the guys that you look to just that you liked watching them work?
Well, to be honest, not to take your own horn, but you, of course. And I liked guys that were different. You know, what made what they did work.
Right.
And I'm a big fan of Jake Roberts. You know, I'll always be a huge fan of Jake Roberts.
Huge fan myself.
Yeah, a lot of my ideas stemmed from things I've seen him do. Mick Foley was a big influence. Terry Funk, Terry Gordy, Kurt Hennig, you know, all these different styles. You know, I studied and that's what I wanted to be, was a hybrid of everything that I thought was cool. You know, and combine that with what the freedom I gained when I went under the mask for a little bit, and I started just letting my specific strange little quirks that only belong to me come out. You know, and I have little things that I do that I can't even control. Like for some reason when I go out there, my right hand goes nuts, and I can't slow down my hand. It's just a natural quirk that I have that no one else does. And the way I move and things, the way I sell things, I can't control you. I couldn't teach anyone to do it. It's just letting myself be free and letting myself do everything that it wants to do without trying to put restrictions and boundaries on it. But all those things, and if you watch a Terry Funk match, you can see exactly what I'm saying.
Right.
You can't teach anyone to be Terry Funk. Terry Funk was just Terry Funk. And those kind of lessons, like watching enough of it and learning that, man, there's no restrictions on this. You can do whatever you want. That's what made me.
Man, when I look at some of my some of my favorite matches of all time, there's been some hellacious matches against, you know, technical wrestlers. Looking back, so some of the things that you witnessed, what would be some of the favorite matches of Bray Wyatt that you were not a part of?
Ooh. One match that I've taken a lot from in these past few years is Shawn Michaels and Mankind at In Your House.
Right.
Yeah, just the violence and the pace of that match in particular was, it was incredible. And some of the unique things that Mick could do, matched with the unbelievable in-ring ability of Shawn Michaels. I have to pick that as possibly one of my favorite matches of all time. But there's so many that I've taken from, and so many that I've watched and admired. I always loved any combination of Vader and Stan Hansen, or Vader and Sting. Is actually very fun to watch as well.
Yeah.
I just like kind of those brutal forces where in my eye I can tell that they're out there and they're just fighting each other, and that's really exciting to me as a viewer and as a fan of this business, to watch and be able to try to pick apart, how exactly they put this thing together and what was going on in their mind. But I like any of those type of era matches, real violent and brutal ones. There's so many, I could sit here and name them all day, but those are some of the few that stuck out to me.
When I see the Wyatt family as a whole unit, and you look at Luke Harper, he reminds me from a visual standpoint so much of Bruiser Brody. Were you a fan of Brody's work?
Oh, of course. I was actually watching him and Terry Funk the other night. Just go out there and just beat the hell out of each other. But I liked Brody, how his pace was. And you were talking earlier about The Undertaker. The Undertaker just flies around the ring, and you need a gas mask or an oxygen mask to keep up with him, and that's what it looked like with Brody too. Standing tall and barking in your face, and you had to really just take him down. It looked like to keep him down, beat the hell out of him to get him to cooperate.
Oh yeah, if you wasn't in shape, he would eat your lunch up.
Oh yeah, huge Brody fan.
Hey, last week we were talking, and you were talking about your brother, Bo, getting into the FCW school before you and lighting the fire under your ass. How much sooner did he get into the school before you?
I think he was there maybe like 6 months before me-ish.
So what was it? Was you like a damn egg in a frying pan at that point, saying, hey, man, I'm letting this stuff pass me by. I better jump on and get in this stuff?
Yeah, I couldn't hold it any longer. I had to get into it. It's an addiction, too, once you do cross that barrier, and even for me, before I couldn't stand, being in my position anymore. Even though it used to be everything I love, I could not stand to not be there. I would have given everything to jump in at first.
But as much as you enjoyed playing football and you were an All-American, did you see the writing on the wall of, hey man, I'm good here, but playing in the pros, hey, maybe it's not going to happen? Were there dreams or aspirations of playing pro football, or you're like, going back to your roots, your calling card, the family business of pro wrestling?
Oh, yeah. I mean, as you look at it, I was a center, and I was about 6'2". I had a good 40 time. I had real good strength. But in the NFL, everyone's 6'5".
Yep.
And, 6'6". And I could have pursued it, and it probably wouldn't have worked out the way I wanted it to. But that was not the driving factor in why I came here. It was more of, this is what I really wanted to do. And I had a great time while I was doing that. And it molded me and changed me from place to place. I went playing football. It really, looking back at it now, it really helped me, in this department. And also my amateur wrestling in, high school, and how long I did that. And I actually almost pursued that in college as well.
Now you were a state champion. You were a state champion in wrestling in high school. Have you ever thought to implement any amateur wrestling into the Bray Wyatt character? It doesn't sound like it fit, but that's where you come from. Have you used any of that background?
Well, I think, to explain this in a rational way, I was very unorthodox.
Right.
Wrestling. My body just moves in a strange way, and I attack in a different way. I was not your smooth, I'm going to shoot on your leg and take you down and score points. I was, here I come, I'm going to whoop your ass.
Just a wild man.
Wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to come at you, and I can move. I was, especially back then when I was lighter, I was very fast for a heavyweight. And I was just really mean.
Right.
I've always had that wild side to me where, especially if something didn't go my way, it was more of a close to a fist fight than it was a wrestling match from that point with me, which is why I think I won my state title, because I was just mean.
Hey, man, but I've always said, as a heel, I do believe you have to have a mean streak. As a babyface, you must have fire. So, I mean, if you're not willing to go out there and just punish the hell out of the person that you're working with, I mean, because there's one way to get heat. And you watch some of the classic guys that I used to really like, guys who weren't great athletes, but when they flipped the switch, they got mean. And Michael P.S. Hayes is one of those guys. He was just a cocky, arrogant heel, and he was a piece of trash, and he would back off and sometimes beg off. But when it came time to switch, flip the switch and get heat, he turned into a different person. Adrian Adonis turned into a different person. Ric Flair even turned into a different person. He was mean. And that's what I think is a big key to making a successful heel. And then on the other side of that, as a babyface, I mean, the guy has to have fire. There has to be some spark. And sometimes I think you can work with a person long enough that they understand this, but for the most part, you're either born with that competitive spark or that mean streak, and some people will never get it, and that's why they never ascend to a higher level, given the facts that everything else that they do is very good.
I agree with that 100%, man. There's a level of tenacity, and you see it in every sport in the world. You either have it or you don't. And it's a switch, and not everyone possesses it, which is why I think it makes people special that do have it. And I think my fuse comes from my father, who has the same type of fuse. It's okay, not anymore.
Right.
Now you're
right.
And I mean, it's easy to portray in wrestling because it's easy to get mad and frustrated out there. And if you know how to channel it and now give it the right outlet and let it be a part of your match, they swim together wonderfully together.
Hey man, it's always it's interesting for me to sit here and think. I mean, you're a third generation guy. I mean, so like if you're just sitting around at the dinner table or for a family gathering, I mean, would it be just like you and your father, Mike Rotundo, IRS? I mean, did y'all ever just sit there and just talk psychology or talk about the business, or did y'all leave that away from conversation? Because here was a guy who'd been around, speaking of at least Mike right now, your father, who'd been around for a long time, great psychology, great worker, very solid in the ring. Did y'all ever have those conversations where he'd say, hey man, you might want to slow this down, or you might want to grab a hold here, or more transition, maybe work a spot here? Did you borrow any psychology from your father?
No, of course. I mean, we've had those talks, just like you're saying. But most of my life, we did kind of keep it away, and
right.
I prefer that too. Usually, when I'm home, it's kind of that is who I am there, and this is who I am here. But I've learned from him a lot of things, and especially not just in-ring stuff, but how to be a man and survive here, and how to be a man and survive with your home life. He's taught me a lot of that. It's not just simply, hey, teach me how to turn the fuse when the heat starts. It's how to be a real human being. It's more what I get from him.
Hey, how'd that spider walk come about?
That's interesting. Randomly one day, I was working with Terry Taylor and Jim Mercury down in Florida. Both of them have been extremely influential as far as the little tidbits I've done, the little pieces of my character and my career. But literally, I threw someone in for a hard buckle, and they moved, and I caught myself, and I was just bending backwards. I don't know why. I could never be able to explain what was going through my mind at that point in time, but I just hung upside down by the ropes, and everyone around me went, whoa. You know what I mean? It was just like one of those things. I wasn't trying to experiment with it. I just did it. And it evolved later on down the line. I was at a live event somewhere, and I was just hanging there, and I go, man, I wonder if I could catch myself. Just dropped. And I caught myself with my arms, and I just started walking and just listening to the crowd. They were freaking out over it. And it was baffling to me. And when I came back, you know something's good when all the boys are going, wow, man, that was crazy. That was cool. You know, and it was just something that fit with the character and happened accidentally, which another great inspiration of mine, Woman Smiley, told me that that's how he figured out a lot of his things, you know. You go out there and you just accidentally do something, and then you go, wow, and that worked. And that's the experience part of this. It takes so long to get good at this, in my opinion, because you have to experiment. You have to fall on your face. You have to fail to ever kind of success and understand what works and what doesn't. And Firewalk is an example of something that accidentally worked.
Where did the Follow the Buzzards come from? I dig that.
It was, I was on my way to FCW one morning. And people ask me all the time, what does it mean? And it's so simple. And it was right after I got hurt. And my promo was going to be, you know, where it was Bray, where it's Bray. And I was driving to the woods where I lived, and there was an open pasture. And I looked out, and there was just a gigantic circle of buzzards. And I was thinking to myself, oh, man, some died under there. And then it just snapped, you know. I was thinking in my head, you know, where's Bray? Where's Bray? You know, he's where all the dead things lie, you know, where all the hate lies. Where's Bray? Follow the buzzards. And it just stuck. It was something like, it was right in line with Bray. Everything he says is so confusing, but so rational. And if you follow the buzzards, and that's where they led you to Bray, you know, what is normally under a bunch of buzzards, you know, follow you to death, basically.
Hey, man, I'm on WWE.com. I'm looking at your merchandise. How much of a hand do you have on the creation of your merchandise?
I'm not really a huge, hey, get me a T-shirt out now type of guy. That's not really who I am. But when they ask me what I want, I say, give me death metal shirts, because that's what I think is cool. And I don't like shirts for just to collect and use a pro wrestling shirt. I want my shirts for those who know it was stand for something, but everyone else who sees it goes, man, that's a cool shirt. That's basically my input on that.
Hey, right now, as we speak, a young man named Roman Reigns is recovering from a hernia surgery. Roman obviously come from the school there with you. You guys have been feuding, obviously enemies but friends within the structure of the business. As he gets well, I'm wondering, is he watching what's going on? Is he learning while he's down with an injury? My question to you is, when you had your pectoral tear, and you were on the mend, what were you doing? I mean, what changed in your mind about how you perceived the business? Because when I was down with the neck surgery, it was hard for me to watch, but I watched, and I learned a lot just from watching and studying the business. What did you learn when you were gone?
Just like I said earlier, Triple H has been instrumental in everything that I've been able to accomplish. It's his will to believe in me that has helped me accomplish everything I've been able to do. So when I went down, I mean, the day out of surgery, I'm calling the regular NXT saying, you better not take me off television. I'm more than capable of being on this television show. This is my show now, you know? And it was, let me talk. Hunter said, yeah, man, I'll do exactly that. And that was kind of like how they gave me a Harper and Rowan, you know, as an instrument to keep me on the show so that I was still progressing, because I was not willing. You know, when you're down there and grind, and it's different in Roman's situation where he's already up here and he's done some great things already. At that point in my career, I was not willing to take a second off. I had to keep moving forward because it was an obsession. And Hart gave me that chance and believed in me, and he still does. As I went forward with that, you know, it helped me progress on the microphone because I'd have 4 or 5 promos a night, and I didn't have nobody sitting there writing stuff for me. It was all on me, and and that's what kind of helped me just go, man, you know, just go out there and be who you are, and they'll get it. They'll get it because they can see what's real. That's how it happened, you know. So it was one of the greatest things that ever happened to me, getting hurt.
I found that when I was injured and I spent time making some of the arena shots, that when I was ringside, just being a second for a guy or managing a guy, whether it was Mankind, you know, when he was working with Owen or whatever, I watched the match differently as a spectator, so to speak. I was sure I was one of the boys, but I was down with an injury. It's one thing to be on the apron of a match, getting ready to tag in, looking at the flow, seeing what the guys are setting the table for, how you will go in and keep that process going. But one step removed, just there close to the ring and watching the action in the ring, I learned a lot, and it was a whole different experience for me. Was it for you?
As far as being hurt, it made me more. Like, I probably came back too early, and as I worked through it, and, you know, I built some strength back up, but I couldn't stand to be away. It was driving me nuts. I see guys succeeding in a spot that I knew was mine, or doing things that I was going to do, you know what I mean, move-wise and things like that. I even saw a fellow, I'm not going to mention any names, of people, like, when I went down, kind of taking pieces of the Bray Wyatt character and trying to make them their own when I'm away.
Right.
And I wasn't, like in the words of Steve Austin, we don't play that, you know. So I wasn't willing to let it go that easily. I was going to reinforce that I'm here and that I can't let anyone take that from me because this is mine. This is my baby. This is my obsession. And I learned that how tenacious I could be when I wanted to be from all that.
I'll say this to the WWE superstars that are listening to the show, so that you don't have to. But in speaking with you, you have the mindset of succeed at all costs. Now, you ain't trying to go out there and step on anybody's foot, but you're out there, you believe in yourself 100%. You're committed to being the absolute best that you can be, and you have earned a spot that you will not relinquish no matter what happens. And much the same mindset when I came to WWF way back in the day as a ringmaster. A suck-ass gimmick, but I got my foot in the door, and then the Stone Cold thing happened, and I became truly what I was in a competitive environment. And I was there to have the number one spot and be damned who was there. And I had respect for the guys that were ahead of me, but my goal was to be the number one guy. Some of the shows that I've been to lately, it just seems like, you know, the business has changed a little bit. The political waters that the boys must navigate are a little more treacherous. There's a lot more bodies to go through in regards to passing an idea along or getting through to someone who's in charge or will listen to you. But at the end of the day, I guess what I'm saying is to anybody in the business, whether you're down in TNA, WWE, whatever, man, if you're in this business, you've got to have a set goal and strategy to get to the top. And not to walk on eggshells, and don't be afraid to push buttons, ask questions, and get your point across, and developing a relationship with the powers that be, because its communication process is a key element in your rise to the top of the ladder. You know, my relationship with Vince McMahon when I first came to the company was 0, and then it started progressing, and the higher up on that card you get, the more depth that relationship gains, and it's trust and it's respect and it's a business partnership. So you've weathered that storm, you've done those things, and so that's my message to you young cats out there and to the guys in the WWE right now. You always hear the people on the internet, Bray, so-and-so's holding these guys down. No, man, sometimes booking is what it is, but nobody's in the WWE or any promotion for that matter seemingly to hold anybody back. They're trying to put out the best superstars they can and put asses in seats at the end of the day. Am I correct?
No, 100% correct. It's 100% hard to explain, but you got to keep your nose to the ground at all times to make it here, and that's a lesson everyone learns when they first come up. First, you're the shiny new toy, and when there's a new shiny toy, then you got to get brought to the wayside, and then it's on you to find a way to freshen yourself up and get yourself back to the limelight. And that's something it's a tough thing, but it's what you have to go through to progress here, and you want that. That's the competitive environment you speak of, because when you go down and you're not in the spot that you want, you have to find a way to get there. And I still have a long way to go in my career, but I look forward to those type of situations because that's what this is. That's what it's supposed to be like. If it was easy, everybody'd be doing it. But it's the ones that have that drive and that will to keep going through all that crap. And when they come out the other side, man, it's so much sweeter when you tasted all that defeat and then to come out that other side. What a feeling.
Hey, Bray, to wrap this thing up, for the go-home, 1 tackle drop down, give me a hip toss, I'll feed you in for the Sister Abigail. Yep, homie calls a high spot just like that. And put myself in your finish. Take me through Sister Abigail. How'd you come up with the son of a gun? How'd you name it?
The maneuver or the actual character, Abigail?
No, let's talk about Abigail first.
I don't like to give away a ton, but
what? Are you talking about King Diamond? Or you...
No, Sister Abigail is to Bray Wyatt is basically like his god. So the Bray Wyatt character was raised almost orphan-like, but was almost not, I wouldn't say Antichrist, but was raised to be this deity, this god, and Abigail is, inserted into Bray Wyatt as the finisher, so to speak. I explained it as her touch could save the world, and her kiss burns it all to the ground. So in itself, it's not just a finishing maneuver. It's almost a place in time, a transgression. But where I got the actual maneuver, I have no idea. I saw it in a tape somewhere, probably something from Japan. But the real driving force behind it is the Abigail character. The kiss and the dance and all that. It was instrumental to the success of Bray Wyatt.
Now, what were you using as a finish when you were Husky Harris? Or did you have a finish? When I came in as a ringmaster, I was looking up the lights. My finish was what everybody said was what anybody was going to hit me with.
I think I started out on NXT TV, and I did the senton one time, and everyone just loved it, loved the way it looked. So my senton became my finish for a while, and I rolled with that for quite some time. But then I came across that move, and Joey Mercury, again, put his name out there. He was instrumental in helping me come up with when I danced with the character and Abigail's kiss and all that type of thing. He helped me come along with all that, but the senton was my original finish.
But see, the thing about that Sister Abigail I like is no matter how big you are, who you are, whether you're, that dude that wears that white bull outfit or you're 7 foot tall Big Show, you can give that thing to anybody. And that's important when you're trying to come up with a finish, because if you're doing something that a top guy ain't going to take, you got the wrong finish, because you ain't never going to get to give it to him.
Yeah. and it is like, that's kind of the rule of thumb whenever you're giving a finish in developmental is, hey, man, can you give that to Big Show? And if your answer is yes, then it's a go. If not, then maybe you can use it for today, but we're going to try to come up with something different for you in the future. And an honor it has been to actually do it to Big Show and prove to everyone, yeah, look, I can. See? It's kind of an honor in itself.
Well, Bray, I'm going to wrap this conversation up right here, man. It was good talking to you. I've been a big fan of your progression since you got in the business. Obviously, I stated earlier, every time I cross paths with you, which is very seldom, I enjoy speaking with you. Keep up the good work, keep up the learning process, and keep up the hunger, because as you know, that's what it takes to stay on top and to keep furthering the progress and carry yourself to the holy grail of being a world champion, putting asses in seats, living out your dream.
Right on, man. I appreciate the time. I look forward to the next one.
Let's give a shout out to our friends at TrueCar for supporting the podcast. With TrueCar, 60 seconds is all you'll need to get an offer for your car. And the amount of times it takes to floss your teeth, pet your dog, or do a few sit-ups, you can get a True Cash offer. Best of all, you can do it from your smartphone or even from home. Just go to TrueCar and simply enter your license plate number and watch how your car's details pop up. Answer a few questions and you'll get an accurate True Cash offer from a local TrueCar certified dealer. It's that easy. After that, you can bring your car in and they'll check it out with you together. You can ask questions and get the answers you need, so there's no surprises. Then simply leave with your check or trade in your car for a new ride. So when you're ready to experience a better way to sell or trade in your car, check out TrueCar today. True Cash offer not available in all areas. And check it out. You're going to need car insurance for that vehicle. Go to geico.com and in 15 minutes, you could be saving 15% or more on car insurance. That's right. Save hundreds of dollars on car insurance at geico.com. Extra money in your pocket? It may just be the most rewarding thing you do today. All right, I'm giving Sean a go-home cue, so let's wrap it up for this week. Make sure you check out PodcastOne.com and subscribe to The Steve Austin Show so you don't miss any of these classic episodes. Before I ride off in the sunset, I do want to throw out a couple of plugs. I still got a beer. It's the Badass Broken Skull IPA, the finest IPA in the United States of America, and that's the bottom line. Made by El Segundo Brewing Company. You can find Broken Skull IPA at Whole Foods and Total Wines if you live in Cali. If you ain't in Cali, you're probably SOL. And if you're looking to get a badass pocket knife, I got two for you. Cold Steel Broken Skull Knife, Cold Steel Working Man Knife. Get them at my Amazon store. Amazon.com/shop/Steve Austin, or go to the Cold Steel Knives website and check out all their badass knives. Also, one more big shout out to all my sponsors to make this show possible. That's how I'm able to bring this show to you free twice a week. Please support them because they support us. For more info, check out the podcast description to this episode for details. Folks, I am on social media, Twitter and Instagram, at Steve Austin BSR. Folks, I'll be back soon, but until then, my name is Steve Austin, and I will catch your ass down the road.
This has been a Podcast One production. Download new episodes of The Steve Austin Show every Tuesday at PodcastOne.com. That's PodcastOne.com.